pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you have roll call, please?
Mr. Barlow,
Here.
Mr. Carholt,
Here.
and Mr. Lowe is not there.
We'll call the meeting to order. Do we have any public comments? Before we go there, let me say, if you want to call in and voice comments through the telephone system, the public comment line is 1-832-831-2424, and the access code is 280672. Okay, do we have any public comments?
Yeah, I got one.
Go ahead.
Alright, so I've been researching this Act of May 1st, 1933, number 69. I found a couple things that might help us all out.
What was that again?
In our endeavors. It's Act of May 1st, 1933, Plat 103, number 69. It's on the PA General Assembly. This is where that's at. So section 1802 listed fire hydrants and water supply. Board of Supervisors may place, replace, operate, maintain, and repair or contract with water companies or municipal authorities for the placing, replacing, operating, maintaining, and repairing of fire hydrants to water mains, maintaining pressures approved by fire insurance underwriters along highway, streets, roads, and alleys within the township, or provide for or acquire a water supply system equipment to supply sufficient water for the protection of property from fire. So that's one that's really interesting to me because I know my insurance, that was one that they were happy to see. Section 2307, let's see.
Well, excuse me for interrupting you, but,
Yeah, sure.
but the first part there,
Yep.
one of the important things is that they may.
Correct.
If you said,
Yep. Yes. Let's see, section 2307. Certain roads declared public. Article 4, evidence that the road is an extension from a public road or a cul-de-sac or a thoroughway between other municipal or state roads. So if you look at the map of Wrist Trail, we'll say Wrist to Straws Ball, and then I forget what the other trail is, I believe it's Kelly maybe. Those two roads do connect, Stoops Road and Bullfrog Road. So it is a thoroughfare, it is a roadway. I'm not saying the whole entire development falls under that, but those two roads do go from one township road to another township road. So that's one, Article 4. Then we have section 2304, power to lay out, open, widen, vacate, etc. Article A, the Board of Supervisors may by ordinance enact, ordain, survey, lay out, open, widen, straighten, and relay all roads and bridges and parts thereof which are located wholly or partially in the township. So you do have the power, it's not all I'm saying. Section 2312, let me get real quick to that one. It's right here.
yeah, just so you guys know, that act that he referred to, that's the second class township.
Yeah.
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 Yep. 2312 actually was about the thing I brought up last month, was the elimination of the deadly curve on the thing. So I'm just asking where we're at with that since I brought it up last month. And then section 2303 is road complaints. Said road complaints. If any complaint alleges that the public roads and highways of any township are not maintained in accordance with law, the court may appoint 3 persons who shall examine the highways and report the findings to the court. In these cases, the complainant shall first enter security in a sum as the court may fix to pay all costs. So is that something that I pay, and if so, how much? Like, what do I need to do? Is my question. Or where do I go to find those answers? Would that be the county courthouse? Or what?
Oh, no.
Well, I don't have the second class township code here in front of me. I think, or are you talking about a petition?
Well,
I don't have it in front of me.
Yes, one is a petition for the paving of the roads in the back, or some kind of water suppression for fire, so that our homes can get put out. And then the other one is about the curve that's at the end of Stoops and Bullfrog, that you can't see that I brought last month.
Well, like I said, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have,
Right.
I don't have the code.
When you
You
look at
might
it,
have- Thanks, man. I might have it in my briefcase, but I'm.
Okay.
I have mine, but I didn't bring it with me. Hey, how are you?
And that 2307, does that have to deal with where the township has maintained the road? for 20
Well, that's one of them. There's like 4 different articles in there, and it's like, if it applies to one of these 4, and Article 4 was the one that I think about the most, because it is, like I said, 2 of the trails do go from straight over to Stoops. But I do agree the other roads are not a thoroughfare through there.
Yeah, so 2707 starts off, the first criteria is the road has to be used for public travel, which it is, but then it has to be maintained and kept in repair by the township for a period of at least 21 years. Then it's a public road. And then some of the factors that you look at after you get over that hurdle and determine whether it's a public road. You cited number 4, that's just one of them.
Right.
But, you know, unless there's evidence that the township has been maintaining the road, it's not a public road. Okay, 2304, yeah, they may by ordinance, if they within their discretion decide to make this a road, they can enact an ordinance and they can make this a public road.
So then it's by choice, correct?
That's right,
Okay.
and he said.
That's all I'm trying to point out.
And what we've tried to do in the past is we've tried to get the residents,
The residents are on board, and I can bring them all in here. if you
well, they're
would
well
like
on
me to.
board according to our last time we had it, because they were.
Well, every 3 years you can redo the
Well, I understand.
whatever, and it's been
For the
more than
last,
3 years.
the
so-
last time we had them in, they were not on board.
Okay, well, let's do it again.
And you have to get, you can't just get 1 or 2, you gotta get them all.
Okay.
And that's the ones that don't even live there. That's the ones that own property.
Now, it said that you can just stick the thing on their, what was it, on their property or on their door, and then if they don't answer, they don't answer.
I
That's
don't know
what
about that.
it's-
That's illegal.
That's, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So, yeah.
Okay, and then 2312, again, in any township may acquire by purchase or by right of eminent domain any property necessary to eliminate dangerous curves and widen roads. So again, that's may, but that's,
Right, that's a choice.
that's
So
their
it's the
choice.
board of supervisors choosing what's more important, a curve and some money or somebody's life. And I know the last time it was commented that somebody has to die before, because that's what the state does. I just think it's sad that we look at our fellow township people that like, okay, which one of us is gonna be?
Well, that's up to them. It's
I know.
what-
I'm
I'm
just
just
not
saying
trying to beat it dead.
Okay,
I'm just-
2303, if any complaint alleges that the public roads and highway of any township, these aren't public roads.
Bullfrog Road is a public road.
Bullfrog, okay.
Yep, that's a public road. That's what I said, it's 2 different.
Okay, so is Bullfrog not being maintained, or is,
It's me thing.
you guys maintain that? Okay, so, well, if it's, 23, if any complaint alleges that the public roads and highway of any township are not maintained in accordance with law, the court may appoint 3 persons who shall examine. So, I mean, I guess if you feel as though that road is not being, Bullfrog Road is not being maintained properly, then you would need to, get a lawyer and file a complaint in court.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, through Adams County, like, that would be where I would go? Like,
Well, you need to talk to the lawyer, yeah, but
Okay.
that's where it would be, Adams County Court.
Alright,
Okay, and what was the, well, 1802, I think that's just the section that authorizes the supervisors to enact orders. Oh,
Right.
fire hydrants, again,
Yep.
well, we went over that, they may
Yep.
put fire hydrants.
100%.
I mean, if they wanted to, they could put water in this entire township.
Yep,
You know, but what the cost of that would be,
right.
you know.
As opposed to like, 70-some people's lots. So I just wanted to prove the point that it's a choice, not what everybody's saying, we can't. We can't. You can, you're choosing not to. So
Well, but
that was the
then-
only
but
point
then-
that I wanted to choose.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of issues. I mean,
Right.
once you lay water mains, then generally people have to connect and get water from you, and
Right.
you have a lot of people on wells that don't wanna connect.
Yep.
So,
You can't force them to do that.
you,
Well,
well,
you can, by ordinance, if you do.
Well, there's
that.
nothing to connect to a fire hydrant. Fire hydrant's totally separate from any other water system.
That's
well, you need to get.
Or
you need-
water tower.
we need
Water
to-
tower would be totally separate from any other water system, so that would be something totally different that a fire truck could hook up to, only a fire truck. And
Well,
that's
but
it.
you need to get water to the hydrant, so you're gonna have to wait.
That's what I'm saying. A water tower feeds the hydrants back there in that development.
Okay, well, then, yeah, that's up, they may do it. I'm not saying they can't, they may do it, whether that's a wise use of township funds, that's their call.
Right. You've proven my point, thank you.
Anything else, huh?
That's it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Do I need to bring up the signs or
Yes.
someone else? Okay. I would like to propose putting, no left turn for tractor trailers somehow worded, for people going, on Route 16 to turn onto Orchard Road. It's prohibited for these tractor trailers to go through, because the end of Orchard Road is too narrow for them to turn. And then on Boyle Road, there's a bridge. Yes, so you turn and, get on the Boyle, and the bridge is not sufficient to support through tractor trailers. But what's happening is they're getting to Orchard Road, and they're either turning before they see the no through sign, or they're stopping at the left lane because they did see it in time, but now they're sitting there. And I think that by putting a warning after the announcement of Orchard Road coming up might help prevent a potential accident situation. And if the borough is not in a position, or township is not in a position to approve it because of financial reasons, I am willing to pitch in up to $300 to cover the cost of materials.
All
But it's important to me that I see an accident waiting to happen.
Did you check with PennDOT, or did we?
I actually did reach out to PennDOT, and I've sent the email to Wendy Peck.
Everybody has a copy of that.
Yeah, I saw that in the email, I just didn't know if you
Yeah.
had checked or if we had checked.
I
with
did.
PennDOT.
First I spoke to Wendy, and then I spoke to Dan Mole, who put me in touch with the proper PennDOT person, who told me all Wendy had to do was send a note saying, hey, give me permission, and they would give permission.
And we would have to pay
It
for
would be
it.
the township's responsibility to install and maintain signs.
And you're willing to give $300. I don't know, what do those signs cost? Do you guys have any idea?
Well, you have to get a proper
PennDOT
PennDOT approved
sign, yeah.
post,
Yeah.
Well,
which
we always
is,
have, we have those things.
Yeah,
Now, what I will say to you, Christine, is we've already addressed this before with PennDOT. We asked them for the exact thing you were asking now, and they turned us down.
well, I was told you cannot put it directly on their sign.
We
So,
were doing a separate sign.
Yeah.
We already did this, but we'll, most
yeah, I
certainly,
spoke to Chris Flagg.
you can most certainly contact them again, put in a request to do this, go through the same, as we did, I think it was, when did we put the signs up?
It was for the truck, when we
A
did the
little over
truck
a year
signs.
ago.
About a year ago, we did the same thing. We put those signs up, we petitioned the state to allow us also to put them up on 16, both directions, and they turned us down. So we can redo it again and see what they say. If
Well-
they turn us down, they turn us down, but, there is an incurred cost, if they need to do what they call a traffic study, and the state does it. Because that's what they did the last time, and they built the township for it, that's what they did. They didn't turn us down anyhow.
Well, I was led to believe that if Wendy directed her request to Chris Flagg, that it would,
He would plant the seed for you?
it would, yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe he will, but I don't know who Chris Flatt is. I know we
He's
contacted.
got an official name
Yeah,
that I
Chris-
forgot. He's an acting engineer something.
Okay,
It's in the email.
that's fine. We'll send that contact. We'll reach out to him see what he has to say about it. Like I said, because I know the last time we did this, they sent an engineer out, he did his study, whatever, and he said it was unnecessary. And so he wouldn't give us permission to do that. But we'll try again.
Yeah,
I mean, all we
maybe
can do
the
is
fact
try.
that
We have the signs.
since
Oh,
a resident reached out, maybe that's enough to turn the tide.
hopefully, like I say.
Big old petition in the house.
Well, like I say, what happened the last time, you know, to get that turning lane and all that put in down there, is it took a big petition and someone died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was tragic, but that's what happened, but then finally we got a turning lane, but a 16-year-old child ended up dying
Right.
before we got it, and of course you were there, so you know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they'll listen to us this time and we can get that done. We'll try it, that's all we do is just try.
Yes.
And all they do is say no. But we'll have maybe reach out to them and put the paperwork in, to do the survey and see if they'll reconsider that.
So we're gonna skip down to her request, which is under new business then, and cover
Yeah.
that. It's the last item on the list. Could
that's
I
fine.
get a motion for the board to address her request?
I'll make a motion that
Go ahead and
address
apply
the
for
request to the state to file paperwork to see if we can place signs at the east and west bound 16 prior to Orchard Road.
Okay.
Also, whenever we get a determination, we need to let them know. I think it would be proper to let her know what we found out.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Of course.
Okay, so Mr. Barlow made a motion, I guess we need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any other public comments? Anyone online? Well, just now we'll let you supervisor comments. Who would like to say first? Brandon, do you have anything on your mind? Don't say no.
No, I really don't.
Okay. Robbie?
Yeah, I'd like to call to everybody's attention recent house fires in the community that we probably all heard about. Make sure your smoke detectors are operating and so forth. It's very unfortunate for anybody to have a fire, especially to the degrees that we've experienced in the last couple of weeks. So if anybody doesn't have a fire extinguisher, please get one. If they don't have any, let me know.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, my only note on that also, in that same direction is, again, our sympathies go out to the family, and there was some injuries there too, so we hope they're getting recovered. The problem that was going on there is a problem I've been talking about for the last 6 years in our township, about getting these fire trucks and these ambulances to our residents when they need services, and including the Risk Trail area. This is not something that is it's new. It's something that I've been trying to address for many, many years. That driveway, unfortunately, was built long before our new driveway ordinance was put in. The driveway was not efficient enough to have more than one truck go up it without blocking everybody else in. So getting water to this particular place was a struggle. They had one tanker up there to spray water. Once he was done, he was done. He was out of water. So they ran hose about 600 to 700 feet down to the pond across from them and pumped water from there. And from my understanding, there were some issues with the pumping system holding pressure at that long of a distance. So, as we've said in our driveway ordinances, we're suggesting, we're actually now going forward for new driveways, got to be a minimum of 15 feet wide. That way you can get 2 vehicles up and down instead of, I think the normal driveways we have, the older driveways are 10. And you can't hardly get a car up and down without hitting the sides of the road, let alone a fire truck or anything else. So we want to try to prevent these type of things from, and when you do need fire and rescue, they can get to you safely and quickly. So we want to make sure that all our residents keep that in mind, because we are going back and trying to address some of these issues. And again, as Adam indicated here, Risk Trail is terrible for getting EMS and fire in and out. It's something we've been trying to figure out how we can address those issues. And it's just a really hard one to deal with. So please be mindful of that when you build your driveways and also, as we've said before, we have an ordinance in the township that says that you're to put the reflective green signs out along the roadway at your house where the fire and EMS can see them. We haven't enforced that, but we have put it in the paper multiple times that you can get those letters from those or from your fire department, from the different fire departments in the community. They're available if you would like, and we'd like to see everybody get those. All right, that's my comments as far as supervisor comments. We're going to go move on to the minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes for March of 2022?
Now make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now the treasurer's report. Did everyone get an opportunity to go over the treasurer's report?
Yep.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we approve that as well.
Okay, do I have a second?
it. I'll second it.
Okay, how about the expenses for the township?
I looked at those and they all look like they're in place, so I'll make a motion that we accept the, as printed here.
The invoices from 3/2/22 to 4/5/22, those are retroactive.
Right?
So that's your motion?
Yes.
I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, right, we had, some payrolls here. Payroll, the first payroll, was for, February 27th, through, March the 12th, retroactive. Do I have a motion to pay those, Mr. Lowe?
Yep, I'll make a motion for the retroactive payroll from February 27th to March 12th.
Do I have a
And
second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
All right, the, March, 13th through March the 22nd, 26th payroll, I make a motion that we pay that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
uh,
Okay, we're gonna go now to our police department report. Sherry?
March 2022, we worked 338.5 hours. We put 1,759 miles on the car. We used 125 gallons of gas. We had 17 911 calls. PSP came out and handled 2 calls out here. We wrote 46 traffic citations, 3 warnings, and 8 faulty equipment cards, and made 1 misdemeanor felony arrest. That was actually made by Officer Rusin, and that was a DUI out here on Route 16. We did take delivery of our tasers,
Yay.
and Officer Rusin will be getting everybody trained on those soon. We did DUI. The transmission was replaced in car 2, and we got it back. And we took it over to B&C Auto Vendors to have the damage repaired from the deer strike. And they had all the parts in, and it was supposed to be a quick fix. However, once they tore it all apart, they realized that I think it was the arms to the radiator, if that makes sense,
Correct. That's it.
that they were damaged, and Steve had to order new ones. I talked to him earlier this week, or late last week, he said he was still awaiting the parts for that, and that they're listed as in transit. However, he has no idea where they are or when he will get them.
I was stuck in the Chesapeake Bay.
I don't know, so I have to keep checking. In accordance with our police policy manual, we deleted some body cam videos that were over 60 days old. We did submit the grant for the JAG grant that we were trying to get a new car for. Officer Rusin did, I think, an outstanding job writing that up. Probably Mr. Lisco can attest to that.
Yes,
He read
yes.
over it for us.
He did a really good job. Outstanding is a good word to describe it.
Yep. We will be participating in the drug take back at Carroll Valley on April the 30th of 2022. So anybody who a.m. on April 30th, that's a Saturday. The one other thing that we're doing right now is we are participating in Pennsylvania's Aggressive Driving Initiative, and I think that runs through the middle of April. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions for me?
How's things going in Highland and
Oh, that's the
Freedom?
other thing. Fine, we did 25 hours in Freedom, we did 25 hours in Highland. I answered, 1 call in Freedom, we wrote 25 citations out there and 7 warnings. In Highland Township, we answered 4 911 calls, wrote 12 traffic citations and 8 warnings. Seems to be going fine. When the time rolls around this year to re-up our contract with Freedom, they have already expressed an interest to me that they would like to look at a 3-year contract instead of another 1-year contract.
Okay. Any feedback from either township regarding what you guys are doing for us?
Just that they are happy with the job that we're doing, and that any feedback that they've received from the public has been positive, so.
Good.
And I've also received feedback. I meet with B once in a while, and she has said that the township's very pleased, residents and all, with the police services over there.
Good. Okay.
The only thing I would like to add to Sherry's report is she had an incident in Highland Township last week where when we had that high wind, where telephone poles, electric poles actually came down on 116. And so she had to respond to that, and we had 3 vehicles when she got there, had electrical wires down on the vehicles, and people standing outside the vehicle. So if anyone's watching now, common sense should tell you that if you have electrical wires down on top of your car, you're not to get out of your car, because you could actually be killed doing so. So just a public reminder, if you're in a situation where electrical wires are involved and you're inside of a vehicle, please do not get out of the vehicle. Put your life at risk as soon as you step out. Luckily, no one was hurt, to my understanding, but the vehicles actually had burn marks from the electric wires on the vehicle, so they were charged up. How the people did not get hurt is beyond me, I don't know.
The electric company said the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, wow. So, thank God that did not happen, but, you know, it's, what a freak incident that those wires would come down like that, but they did. All right, we'll move on to our, zoning enforcement, zoning report. We had, 3 permits, applied for in, the month of March. One for, a 3-bedroom addition, one for a renewal of a pool permit, and another one for removal of a mobile home, for a total of $225 brought in for the permit process for March. Okay, we have a couple of different things here on our zoning ordinance or violations. We have the 2650 Bullfrog Road. It's an ongoing violation. That particular resident has now submitted an application for to remove the property that has been in question, and so we're going through the process now of getting that all taken care of. 3257 Bullfrog Road, that ongoing violation has been addressed. Our police officers and our zoning enforcement officers were issued a search warrant for this property, and it was executed twice, once last week and then once this past Friday, to search the interior and the exterior of the property. So that is still an ongoing investigation on how to proceed forward. The 340 Brent Road property, the DEP has been brought in, the Land Conservation District has been brought in, so they are handling that particular issue there on Brent Road. The Airedale property on Airedale, I don't know if all the supervisors have that or not, but
There should be something in the packet, and he's requesting till April 16th to remove the debris.
We
He
have,
needs a vote from supervisor.
we have, had a complaint from a resident that the road was being blocked, private road was being blocked by another resident, and, found that indeed was the case, and, as Wendy has just indicated, the resident, has asked till April 16th to remove the vehicle
Correct.
from the road. I'm gonna make a motion that we grant him, to the 16th to remove that vehicle. If not, then, we'll have to take other measures to address that issue.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Let's see, April 16th. Okay, that's down there. Distribution. That's the area one.
And right after that.
All right, so next we are on, let me see, down there.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
They
ahead.
have Airedale, excuse me, Airedale Trail dumping. Is that included in?
That's the same
That's
one.
the same
That's what
thing.
it's included in.
Yeah, he dumped on his own property.
Okay.
So,
But you can't have it more than 15 days on it.
Just wanted to make sure that both people.
then we have the 2961 track road complaint for the animal at large. That has been addressed, and as of right now, this all, we'll just follow up with the landowner to make sure that he complies with the township ordinance with that particular issue going on. Then the next one is 17912 Harbor Valley Road. That's unpermitted buildings and septic tanks. You will have in your packet a letter from our, Clem, thank you.
And he also sent that huge packet I gave him the other
Yes,
day.
we sent a huge package to deal with that. Some of the things that he has said in his letter, he has suggested to them that they come in compliance with putting in applications for permits for things they've already done that they did not get permitted. That's one thing. But the bigger issue that he found, he brought to the attention of the township is they have 4 buildings up there that apparently have individual septic tanks on them.
Holding tanks.
Holding tanks, right.
Yeah, they're
I
not
talked to our KPI for our sewer enforcement, he's not aware of any of that. He can't find any information on it. So our zoning officer has asked that we send Gil Piccarelli up there with SEO to investigate and to inspect these units and see if they're in compliance. So I'm gonna make a motion that we do go ahead and have him go up and take a look at those properties and make sure that they do fall in line with our sewer enforcement ordinances and that everything's up to par on that. And while we have him out in the township, I'm gonna switch over to another place. We have also a place up on Glad Hill Road, 14051 Staley Road, Fairfield, PA. Is to Christ and Style Church. It's brought to our attention that the septic people went up to pump their system and they pumped 12,000 gallons of water, and that's gotta be a typo.
Well, they said it was multiple units.
So I called them up and I said, is this a typo? And they said, no, that's exactly what we pumped. It took us about 2 weeks to get this done. And I went, how many tanks did he pump? They said they pumped 9 tanks. Well, seriously. So, Gil, again, I spoke with him, he was not aware that they had 9 tanks on the property. Either one of these properties he had no information on, so I'm also gonna make a motion that Mr. Piccarelli, when he's out in Hartwell Valley, that he makes a trip up to Staley Road and also, review these 9 tanks with the property owner and see that they're in compliance. That's my second motion.
Or is it a combined one motion?
Well, it's combined, just to combine, it is a big
Or
one.
the SEO to investigate?
Yes.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we'll send that out to Gail and get that all taken care of. Let's see if I got to head myself here now. I jumped around, I know, with this.
Did you do that? You're fine.
I think you got them all, I think.
Yeah, we're down the road department.
Thank
We
you.
covered it.
Okay, that's that. Thank you. All right, road department. We have two things to go over the road department. First, before we move into the road department stuff, I wanna, well, we're gonna put this on the agenda for next month to approve the minutes for the road, department's, March 19th, 2022, road inspection. We did not get this on the agenda, so I'm not gonna revise the agenda tonight. We just, put it on until May's meeting, but the minutes, you guys got copies of the minutes. You can please read those between now and then, and we'll, move forward, with that. Okay, under the road departments. Get the pictures off here. We drove a total of 1,100 miles on the roads this past month. We used, what was my fuel mileage, 78.1 miles in gas on the roads and 19 gallons of off-road diesel for the entire month. Coming up here in April 14th, I'll be out of town from 9 a.m. until 11. I'm going to Harrisburg to a PennDOT connection meeting. It's a municipal outreach session for potential funding for townships, opportunities for townships to get funding to help with some road projects. And that's on the 14th of May, that's next week. You have in front of you also GE Gimbals. I called them for estimates and pricing for our flag. Of course, we took the flag class back last month and everybody got certified in flag force training, so that's done. We have to bring our flags and our equipment up to date. It was not up to date, so I placed a quote for 2 flag symbol signs that we don't have. We don't even have it. And for you to properly set up a safety zone, you have to have it. So 2 of those at $220 for the pair. 2 aluminum work zone head signs, also at $220 for 2 of those. 1 2. That's that one on the quote. That's wrong. It's 2 one-lane road header signs. We have the old ones. These are the new reflective signs that need to be brought in and put up. So they'll be $220. So they was quoted that one. 12 cones. That's a minimum. It's 6 cones at each end of the work zone. It's a total of 12. That's just for the work area alone. That's not for any approaching areas. So 12 cones. At $297, it also has the reflective stripes on them. The stop slow pedal, 2 of those at $196 because last year I made up some signs and I had people complaining that they were heavy to operate. So these are official lightweight PennDOT approved paddles. And then 10 of your red flags. We have the orange flags. We don't have the red flags. We have no red flags. So the orange flags are not to be used in the safety zone. They're supposed to be red. So 10 of those at $90 for those. This is in our sign budget for the liquid fuels. We have 1,500 liquid fuels. We have 2,500 in our general funds for signs, so that's within our sign budget. Okay, what else I've got on this list of stuff going on here? All right, the salt contract has been renewed for 2022 season. We did reduce the price of the tonnage to 65 tons instead of 80. I think we have enough left over this year that we're not going to need a whole 80 next year. I did go out and set up an account with AdCom for next year. We're going to try to use some magnesium on our roads to help when it gets below 32 degrees because salt and the anti-skid is not effective after you get below 32. So we're gonna give us, try to skid it out at, it's a tournament, it's 1.2 tons, it's $756 for a skid of it, for 2022. Also, we have upcoming this year, the Old Waynesboro Road projects we've been working on, getting, things done. I talked with the landowners, Mr. Kellett, on the, let me see, he would be on the east side of the road, and Mrs. Corey's on the west side of the road. And both of them has given us permission to enter in on their land, to access the creek, when we go to put the stone underneath the creek. On the Waynesboro. So that will help out with that, hopefully.
And cut some man hours out.
Yes, that definitely cuts some man hours out. So, I didn't bring the packet in, but anyhow, you do have your proposals for, that's Petra Wood. Oh, you hear about the proposal, sorry guys. I got them over here, baby.
You're talking about from McLaughlin?
Yes, you got your proposal from McLaughlin?
That's under new business.
Oh, okay, that is under new business, okay, so we'll just wait
We'll
to
need
get
a
to that.
motion for that.
Yeah, we'll wait to get to that. But I do want to, while we're talking about the roads, Petra Road was slotted for this year to be paved this year, but it got pushed back because of some of the things that happened last year and what's going on with McLaughlin. But I just want you guys to be mindful going forward that Petra Road is on our priority list. I don't know how we want to address this, but it's been proposed that we do a 9.5 super pave, over top that with a scratch leveling course. The old price from last year was $142,000. And also do a pavement fabric under that to seal the road. And then also do a 9.5 super wear. So what you do is you put the super wear down, put the fabric down, and then you put the super scratch coated and leveling of 9.5 over top. The total price that we were quoted last year was $362,800. Now we know that price is definitely going to jump. The prices went up by 30% this year. So we need to be thinking about that when we set our budget. That this is going to have to be addressed, and so we're going to have the money to do that at some point in time. Either we do it next year or the year after next. It has to be done. So the other thing I have on here too is as we did our road ride around, Sanders Road, we took the measurements out there for Sanders Road to do some base repair at both ends of Sanders Road, and it's the base repair for Track Road and Sanders Road. That's 6.75 tons of blacktop and 9.5 to do that base repair. Just at right now, the projected cost, just for blacktop, is $607.50. And that's not manpower, it's not machines or nothing like that. That's just projected blacktop.
That was about 25 feet off of Track Road, about
28 feet.
28 feet.
18 by 28 by 30.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other part of Sanders Road was at the township line with the borough of Carroll Valley was 18 by 150 to 200. We just put in 150 right now. That's at 33.75 tons of 9.5. That projected price at the going rate as of right now is $3,060 just for the blacktop. And then over on Bullfrog Road, the 120 feet by 8 feet section on the north side of the road that we didn't do this past year, base repair is 15 tons of 9.5 at $1,350. Those things I don't have in the state liquid fuels bid. We will be bidding these out to get some quotes on what it's going to cost to have these addressed also coming up this year. We did determine that if we do these things with Sanders Road, we don't have to do anything else with Sanders for probably 3 or 4 years, which should be good to be able to push that down the road a little bit. Some of the other things in the road department this past month is we took the old yellow up and had it inspected and serviced and got it back yesterday. from Steve Nelson's. We also had the 550 over to the Hagerstown Ford for oil change and service work over there. And then we had, what else did we do? Yesterday I undressed, the big truck now is undressed. If we get snow, we won't be using the big truck. Because it's totally undressed, and the 550 has been partially undressed, and the salt box, the spreader box is still on, but other than that, it's ready to be undressed too. I'm gonna take the rest of it off after Easter. Hopefully it would be safe to do that after Easter. Did start the mowing tractor up yesterday, took it out, and greased it up, and got it ready for the mowing season, and took it out and mowed along the road out here just to make sure everything's cool with that. Some other things we had going on in the township this past month, and one thing we had just happened just today, is we had some people dumping trash along our roads again. We've had this problem before. Well, today it was brought to our attention that someone had dumped trash down along the Middle Creek, on the bullfrog of the Middle Creek property. Two couches, a mattress, and a porta potty. So anyhow, I was called out and I gathered that up to the dump and paid for the dumping fee, and thank God that some of our residents were witnesses to the fact, and we got contact information and the license plates of the vehicle. Sherry went out and visited, and the person confessed to the crime. So Sherry's handling that going forward, but please don't be dumping along our township roads. And what's really unfortunate about this was a non-resident. It came from another part of the county, that's all I should probably say, and dumped in our township, which is pretty sad. They come to our township and do that.
What's the fine, chief? Is it 300?
It's a sliding fine, I think between 50 and 300 magistrates have it. It's a summary, non-traffic citation, and I've already written it and taken it to the magistrate's office along with the cost that it costs the township to go out,
Go out, clean it up.
take it to the dump, all that, a whole 9 yards. So hopefully that'll be, should be restitution, if he is found guilty, which I would assume that he'll either plead guilty or be found guilty of.
What was the cost to clean it up?
The cost came out to $259 and some change.
Yeah.
Now that cost would be the labor cost for myself to go out, township truck, mileage to the dump, the dumping fee at the dump.
So this guy could be looking at about $550 for this dumping. Hopefully he'll get the max.
Yeah, if he would just take it to the dump, it was $13.70,
Yeah.
$13.25. Seriously, you decide to dump it on our road. But anyhow, people will be people. That's how things go. So other things that I dealt with too in the month of March is I was in contact with Low Bar. Low Bar is a bridge construction company that deals specifically in bridge and culvert pipes. They do a lot of state work. So they came out, looked at our bridge, sent them the packet for the bridge inspection report. They will be working us up a price quote to do some of the repair work. Also JVI out of
What's the name?
JVI Group.
Okay,
out
that's
of
also for.
Wilk Springs.
Okay.
They're out of Wilk Springs. They also sent a man out. He met with me. He has a copy of our report, and he's going to work up the price quote too. Some of the work we're going to attempt to do ourselves. Some of the work we can't. They're saying that, and I did go back out with these guys here as we were looking at things, and we're trying to prioritize what needs to be done and where. One of the things on the bridge itself is the decking needs a 3-inch decking replaced with 9.5mm with a 5-ring member put under it. Because the deck is not sealed anymore and it's leaking water down in the beams and rotting the beams. to repair the beams and not fix the decking, or fix the decking and not, before you do the beams, I think is kind of backwards. I think we need to do the deck first, because if we fix the beam problem with the water and erosion problem on the steel, and we still have a deck that's leaking, we're just gonna have the same problem again. We will be putting out that, like I said, they already gonna give us some quotes, but I'm also gonna reach out to, some of the other paving companies to give us a quote on doing just the deck. But I kinda got a nasty feeling these bridge guys are gonna really suck it to us. I mean, that's what they do, and that's all they do, so, but we can also look at doing some paving companies, see if they'll do it also. I also found a powder strip, mix the overhead mix for, to do the concrete work under the bridge. I think we can do that ourselves. I did notice, and I didn't notice before when I was under there looking at it with the contractors, someone's already attempted to do that. It did parts of it, it didn't do it all.
I hadn't noticed that.
I didn't notice either until he pointed it out to me. I went,
Saw water staining cracks. That was-
yeah. And this stuff here is the same, matter of fact, I showed that to him, he said that's the same stuff they use. It's like $190 for a tub of it, and, I can only guess what they charge us for it. But anyhow, so we're gonna move forward in April, beginning of May, to start working on some of this stuff and get some prices in, if we can address that issue there. Other than that, I think until we get to, the new agenda items, that I'm done with, our report. And we'll move on to, I don't know what I do.
The report that she gave you,
No,
I don't think you should read it, it's just summarize it.
my agenda list,
The one from Judy,
Yeah.
Oh, you need those?
yeah.
that's right.
Do you not have Judy's email? I could give it to you.
Here, this one here, you looking for that?
Yeah, I have that marked. No, no, no. Hold on, I'm not down the road, sorry about that, I knew I had something missing. As far as the road department too, there's a recycling day coming up in the Adams County Conservation District, for
The
May,
tires.
for the May 21st at 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. for any tires that any of the residents may have. They can take them into 670 Old Harrisburg Road. It's $3 a tire that you can take in to them. They would like for you to contact them for no later than May the 2nd. To register, you have to register and pay in advance. They only take tires up to 48 inches in diameter, and 14 inches in width. Car standard tires, no truck tires, and they have to be off the reins. So the telephone number is 717-334-0636. If you would like to contact them and make arrangements to take the tires in, you can do that. Okay, now we can move on. So, Judy has sent in, she's not with us tonight. Unfortunately, she had a passing in her family, and we want to send our condolences to her and to her family on the passing of her brother. But she's not able to be with us. They had a meeting on March the 15th, the planning board. They considered a couple things, the approval of the Adams County letter that they sent back to the township on the Thomas Hangar, and also something else. This is not everything out there.
Are you talking about?
In Carmel?
Yeah,
Yes.
they had about the nuns place up on the nuns.
Remember we went over that last month?
Yes.
And we were looking at the new ice house building.
Right.
Well, when they took it to the planning commission, it piqued the interest in our engineer, and they want to be able to review that.
Correct.
And Judy recommended, the planning commission recommended that the engineer go ahead and review it, But I pointed out that we have not received any formal submission or review fees, and so it would be up to the board to make that decision before we let the engineer incur a cost on that, because that would be taxpayer funds.
Well, some of the parts that if I understand their lingo about was that there was some concern that some of the, I got it right here. That some of the buildings may absolutely sit in Liberty Township, not in Hamilton Dam. So we definitely need to verify where these buildings are sitting at, and if they did not get permitting from Liberty Township to build these buildings, they need to do something about that. So I think we need to get some clarification out there. Maybe what we probably need to do is send our,
Do you want to draft a letter from the board and asking them directly for these questions and then have them contact the township
yeah, we can do that.
and submit plans and formal submission fees, and then we can take care of it after?
Yeah, we can do that.
I will draft a letter for
Yeah,
you.
we'll make a motion that we need to draft a letter
Thank you.
to address this issue with the Carmelite nuns and ask some of the questions that are kind of up in the air about who's splitting where.
I'll second
All in favor?
it. Aye.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna say, I knew I had that comment. I was looking for it right there. All right, so we're at the planning review. All right, review the Thomas Hangar. Guys, I don't know if you saw the letter from the Land Conservation going ahead saying that they have met all requirements as far as Adams County Conservation is to go forward with the proposed hangar.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we go to Secretary's Treasury, the Treasurer's electronic device recycling.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that Freedom Township will be hosting the electronic recycling this year. There will only be 2 recycling events. The proposed months will be May and October. We don't have all the details. We should have them after Freedom's meeting this month. So middle of April, I'll have the actual dates and times and locations.
Okay.
What else? I don't think that was it.
Wendy, I have a question. At the end of this month, we have to make we're supposed to file our ARPA report and make the election, to take that standard loss deduction.
Yes.
Have they agreed to that, the board? Is that when you
I think we did. I'll have to look back in the minutes and see if we've done that.
okay.
I don't know. I don't remember. I know we talked before about it. We had Kevin in from SEK.
That's right.
We agreed with them.
Have you talked to him recently?
Like 2 weeks ago. We've been talking about the report. But
And did they, I mean, the last time I looked into it, they didn't even have the form out to make that.
I understand it. I look at it every single day. I'm in contact with everyone at PSETS and all the townships, and the site keeps failing. People try to submit, and then it bugs out. So I don't even know if they're gonna hold up with the April 30th deadline at
Okay.
this point, because the site's not fully functioning.
Should we have them make a motion for us to file that?
I'm pretty sure we did file it.
We haven't filed.
I think we already made the motion to file it, but I'll make a motion that if we haven't, that we go ahead and do that.
What exactly is that motion?
That's to file the report and to claim the standard loss.
Claim the standard.
Loss, yeah, when we file the report.
Okay, so Mr. Barlow has made the motion to claim to the ARP. Okay, claims.
And I'll second it.
Thank
All
you.
in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So the next thing on our agenda is the update on the cable franchise. John and myself have talked about this particular, he sent to Mrs. Kristen Ritchie a request, and then they complied with some of the requests, but not all of the requests. The board can either go ahead and accept their proposal as written, or we can go back to them and say, listen, we want to continue the negotiation. We have time on this. one of the things I said to John when we talked about it this past week was, and he had brought up too, that they did not agree to remove their cables from the ditching in the township. If they go defunct, they're just gonna make their stuff in our ditches and all. As I brought to his attention, we did a ditching ordinance back in 2016 because of the cable company, and because at that time, our current roadmaster actually was digging in a township right of way, and there was a cable in there that he caught and tore out, and of course they wanted to try to charge the township. And the thing was, he was just laying on the ground under some leaves. So our ditching ordinance requires that any cables in the township right of ways at least 36 inches deep and identified with red tape. They still have not complied with that particular part of the ordinance. I can take you over that same road right now where the cable was dug up, and it's still the same exact thing. It's about an inch deep. And so I'm not going to make a motion for us to accept the agreement. I believe we continue to need to negotiate some more.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest, table it. I wanna give her a call and I want to discuss, there are several items in there
Right.
that need to still be negotiated, and, you know, I was planning on calling her before this meeting, but to be honest with you, I just didn't, when I wanted to call, I was too busy doing other stuff, and I just didn't get around to calling. It was just one of those things.
Okay?
But I do, yeah, and plus we have some time, we have till August.
Yeah, we
So I definitely will call her before the next meeting.
Okay, so I'm going to table
And
it.
hopefully I can come back with a little better news and,
So I'm going to table this until the May's meeting, and we'll bring it back up. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Codification.
Can I make a comment on that?
No, sure you can.
My main point of bringing this up is we're getting ready to advertise the meeting, or the hearing, and these two issues have come up. And if we choose, Mr. Lisco, if we choose to go ahead with these changes, would we need to change the ordinance? Or is the ordinance so brief that this wouldn't matter? Did you look at-
well, these ordinances will be in the code book.
Correct.
Correct.
And you
I
could,
don't understand, you did the whole advertisement and you did the whole ordinance to adopt the code. Would any of that need to be revised if we make these two changes? That's all, that was my question.
well, I think what we would need to revise is, I believe in that ad, and I believe in the ordinance, there were some new ordinances that we added.
After the ad was put together?
No, before the ad was put together, I thought there were some ordinances that we wanted to change, and then we were doing as part of the codification process.
Correct, okay.
So I think we would need to, again, I'd have to go back and look at the ad and.
You wanna take another look at it?
Okay, and you sent the handouts with the revisions, is that what the board wants? I guess they need to vote to
They
start
have to
the
vote.
process to make those changes.
Correct.
Yes.
The one is to the subdivision ordinance about lot additions, and what was the other one? Yeah, about
It's
eliminate the roof mounted solar from the zoning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, they need to then make a motion to do that, and,
And then can we just adopt it as part of the codification?
yeah, we should be able to.
So if they vote on this now, we can just add that in when we're going forward?
Yes, and
Okay.
I'll have to take a look at the ad.
Sure. I'll send that fresh to you tomorrow and with.
Well, I have it here,
Oh, okay.
I have the,
No, I mean, I'll send you the ad and the ordinance tomorrow.
well, okay, you can send
I
it
mean,
to
so
me.
you don't have to look for it.
Okay,
That's all.
all right,
Just
all right.
refresh your stuff.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion on item I, to revise and eliminate the prohibiting of rooftop mounted solar systems on people's private homes. So that's my motion. Did we change that in the ordinance for the solar ordinance? Do I have a second?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
The second one is, number 2, is consider revising the request required drafts of new deeds as part of the subdivision plan approval process. This is kind of to eliminate the problem we had with the plot plans and the lot additions and all that, is when you take a lot from one place and you give it to a family member or whatever, that they have to get that deeded in the courthouse. So I'm gonna make that motion that we go forward and make that change to our subdivision plan.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Beth. The next thing we have is item C, is the septic program pumping inspection. Really, we have 29 people's names on this list now. The last time it was before us, we had 40. So it's coming down slowly, but it is. And some of these may have already pumped. We just haven't got the paperwork on them yet. So if you know anybody on this list, please come reach out to them, ask them if they pumped. If they have, we need to know who pumped them and when, and we can get them checked off. Right now, I think April 30th was the
It
deadline?
was February, actually.
No, I remember, we extended it to,
And then we said we would,
but
because it was February, we would give it 30 days till March, because then it would take till March 13th to get the reports in.
right,
And then we would deal with it
In
at
April.
the April meeting, which is now.
Yes.
So the original deadline was October 31st, 2021.
Right.
So
So,
they're already 6 months past due.
so we have an option to go ahead and send out violation letters to the remaining 29, or we can table this until next month and contact these people one more time. Yes.
Am I off the list yet?
Yes.
You-
You are off the list.
Good.
Yeah, I don't see your name. I can picture of that too. But no, you're off the list.
Should we add her name back to the
No.
So anyhow, we have not 29 people on the list. Do we want to table this, or do we want to go ahead and start doing citations?
Do you want to send another letter as a reminder, or do you want to send
That's
citations?
what I'm asking the board.
Well, I think one more letter, but, and we can table till then, because we just recently got a bunch in, as I understand.
I got something
This is
today.
after all of those are in, this is what's left.
Well, the first list had 40 on it, this has 29.
Oh,
I have
okay,
here.
oh, you mean since the last list?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, so that's 25%.
So one more reminder.
One more reminder, I think, is it,
That's
and,
great.
you know, that's my,
I support that because it does seem to be that the letters, for the most part, have actually done something
yeah.
since there were 400 people to begin with, and they quickly started.
How long are we supposed to, or can we give them to get it done? Was there a time?
Well, we
frame?
already gave them a year, we extended it a year
Yeah.
because of COVID.
Right.
And now we're a year and 6
18
months.
now.
So now we're at 18 months that we extended it. So, that's where we're at, we're at 18 months out. Past the 2-year, what's gonna happen is these people are gonna not be happy, because even though we extended this out, at the next cycle, it's still gonna fall back in.
Right.
And then
and in
everybody's
2
got a
years-
pump.
In 2 years, they're gonna get another letter.
They're gonna get a letter that they got a pump.
Because they waited so long to do it.
That's their problem.
That's exactly right.
And they're like, I just did it last year, but you did it 4 years late.
Yeah, you did it 4 years behind.
It's like getting your car inspected late or something, I mean, whatever.
Alright, so I'm gonna make a motion that we table this, send out a second notice to the remaining
That'll
29.
be the fourth notice.
Well, yeah, the fourth notice.
Additional notice will be
And
sent.
we'll readdress this at the May meeting.
Okay, so we'll send one more notice and.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we should make note in that this is the last, extension.
No more notices,
No more
violations will start.
Mhm.
That's it. All right, so we're gonna go on to new business, under new business, again, if you're on the line and you wanna make public comment on new business, agenda items only, our number is gonna be, 832-831-2424 with the ID of 280672. Okay, does anyone have public comment under new business? Hearing none, we'll move forward with the new business. Consider a motion to retroactively approve the submission of the letter that Chief Hanson talked about the police cruiser. This is a grant, fully paid grant. If we get approved for it, we can get a new vehicle. We had a deadline of March 31st, and that needed to be submitted. So we went ahead and had that done. Thanks again to Sherry and to Mr. Rusin's help. And also, we had to reach out to some of our people in the township, businesses particularly, for support letters, and they most certainly got the support letters back for us also. So I want to make a motion that we accept that retroactively approved for that letter, or for that grant.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, the next one is going to be the road project. Again, as I stated to you earlier, this is for McLaughlin Road, and this is for two sections of McLaughlin, the upper section and the lower section. From Water Street to Bullfrog Road, that section, it's 0.54 miles, about 18 feet wide. We're projecting 684 tons of 9.5 wear course super pave to be placed over that. This past year, we actually did all the base repair on that in-house. So this road would just get a super pave over top of that. Hopefully that will last 20 years at least. That's one of the bids to go out. The other bid is for the upper half of McLaughlin Road, between Bullfrog Road and the Freedom Township line. That's 0.60 miles by 18. That's a little bit more in depth. We're going to place a super paved asphalt wear course with 9.5 millimeter on it, 2 inches thick, compacted. We're going to mill notches at each person's driveway and pave in on those. Additional work to be performed on that is there's 2 points in the road. It's approximately 150 feet by 18 feet. It needs to be milled out and completely taken up, and then a new road put down and base put down. That would be with base material 12 inches thick in depth, replaced with 6 inches of compacted 2A stone and 6 inches of 25 millimeter super pave, and then finishing the top of it with the 9.5 course. Again, these are to be advertised in the paper for bids to come back in, and we want the bid opening to be at our May. What's the date? I think the date on that.
Is it the 6th? I don't know.
Give me a date on that.
Yep, it'd
The
be.
second Tuesday.
Second.
Or first Tuesday.
Is the
second.
third.
The third.
May 3rd, the bid opening, and we will award the bids the following week under a special meeting.
Okay.
Actually, can you look at the date for that?
Pick a bid.
That's,
Special meeting for the bid awarding should be a week after bid opening, so that would
that'd
be
be the 10th.
We can do the 10th.
What time? I'll have to advertise that.
Yeah, we have every time.
Lunchtime?
Can
Can you
put
do
that?
lunchtime?
I can do, I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that fine? It only take half an hour. It won't even take that long. All right, so 12 o'clock on,
May 10th.
12:30, does 12:30 work better for you?
12:30,
May 10th at 12:30.
May 10th, 12:30.
So that's a motion to advertise, Mr. Brown?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
So
I'll second it.
thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
I thank you guys for that. And like I said, the companies we're gonna be sending the bid packs out is to AAA Paving, New Enterprise Paving, Fayetteville Contractors, C.E. Williams, and all of these people have already came out and looked at the jobs, and they're aware that this bid is gonna be going out. And then also, like I said, I'm gonna be submitting these other bids at the same time, Wendy, for proposals. These contractors can bid on that too if they want, for Sanders Road, Bullfrog, and also for the bridge overlay.
Are you not advertising that one?
Yeah, we're gonna advertise all of that together.
Oh, wait a second, I totally got confused. We just made a motion for the McLaughlin bid and,
Yeah, that's to depend
now you're
on
talking
fuels.
about, the other
Sanders.
miscellaneous work.
Yes, we're
We're
gonna bid that out.
gonna put a bid together for that as well?
We're gonna bid that out too.
Okay, so you'll have, a bid packet ready for that?
We'll have a bid package, what I just said earlier tonight, but we'll have a bid package for it.
All right, so that we can advertise it in time for the same
Yes.
opening? So
Yes,
this bid opening and award will be for all these projects?
yes.
Okay.
make sure we have in that bid pack, that advertising though, that the bids, are not guaranteed that we accept any or all.
Mhm.
I mean, we could accept some and not the other part, so, but we have to put that in every time, right?
Yes.
Any, or you can refuse them all.
Yes, so,
Any, all, or none,
correct.
yes.
All right, so that's the road thing right there for road bids.
All right, where are we?
Consider a motion to adopt,
C.
resolution 2022X for intermediate agreement between Hamilton Bend Township and, Liberty Township for this year's, season 2022 joint road repair work. We've been working over the last couple of years this way. So, did you guys have an opportunity to go over the intermunicipal agreement?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
If Mr. Barlow, you can just make them aware that Hamilton Man has already voted and agreed to this.
Yes, they have. They have voted and agreed to this, and they're just waiting for us to sign this piece of paper and then give it back to you. So I'll make a motion that we enter into this intermunicipal service agreement with Hamilton Van Township for the year 2022.
I'll second
All in favor?
that. Aye.
Okay, thank you. D, consider a motion to adopt ordinance 2022, tax collector's fee. I'll make a motion that we, the tax collector's fee is, going up a little bit, it's like $20.
I think that was the one where she didn't even have a fee.
Yeah, she didn't have a fee, that's.
For that particular item, and so we also had to make it retroactively effective. Is that, Mr. Lisco, that's correct? It was a retroactive.
Yes, yeah, it's for
This-
tax,
this
providing
tax.
tax certifications.
Yes,
Yeah, retroactive to, the date
This
should be
tax
in there.
year or something. I think
Yeah,
that's on there.
like whatever, I don't know, whatever
Yeah,
it
you are
says in
right
the
on
ordinance.
yeah, I have it here, it's
Okay.
$20 retroactive, so related to information of each parcel, real estate, $5 for tax. All right, so I'll make a motion that we adopt this ordinance.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next one is gonna be, the resolution adjusting our fee schedule. This incurred by the enforcement officer's fee went up, for 2022. So we're gonna make adjustments from $90 to $100 for consulting for 1 hour. And also, the $50, it went from $45 to $50, per hour if they have to do anything for the residents. So I make a motion that we adopt a new fee schedule.
Question.
Yes.
Those were the only two adjustments to the fee schedule?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next one is, F, consider a Fairfield Center generic letter out, to all the, surrounding municipalities, and it's about the COVID relief money that you received from the federal government. They're asking, for, the townships to consider giving them, a portion of that to the fire company. Any discussion?
How much did we give them this year so far?
$10,000.
10,000.
Plus, we gave them, what was that for the fire relief?
They gave it, what is it, 7,000?
$17,000.
Yeah, it's approximately $17,000 per year.
That's what we did. No, this is not something that we have to do, this is one of the options that you can give some of the money to the fire company if you choose so.
I make a motion to table this for consideration at future meetings.
I would second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and the last one we've already handled, so my next thing is a motion for adjournment.
All right, and I'm recording
I don't,
time 7:20.
I didn't get a second there, Wendy.
No, I was just recording the time 7:20.
Oh, 7:20.
I'll
All right, got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight, participating in our meeting. We look forward to seeing you next month.
How much month ARPA funds you guys receive, or are you gonna receive?
We're supposed to get 130,000.
130,000.
We've only received the 60.